We're going to find out what happens in game number 3, who's going to be in a delightful position after this one, because one of them is going to be up 2-1 and be 1 game away from keeping the dream alive. It's getting underway right now. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your moms. I'm sure she wants to watch it too.
Bet you call these moms watching.
My mom's watching.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Mom. I actually talked to my mom right before the show.
How'd that go?
It was good. It's good to talk to her. Haven't seen her in a while. I'm going to go home soon. You know, go see the family.
A little bit of time. I'm not coming home, Mom. Got him.
You're a little closer to home than I am.
Yeah, I'm a few hours away. Pretty darn good opening hands from both of these guys. How good is Deathlord in this matchup? This is one I'm really curious about, because again, this deck is like brand new. We haven't been seeing a ton of it. It's been popping up lately, but you know, this feels like a matchup where it could easily backfire.
It can be very scary. I mean, very scary. If the wrong minion comes out at the wrong time, like I had this matchup the other night and I played it and they got an Emperor Thaurissan on turn like 4. Yeah.
Well, that's just what Druid does anyway. They always have Emperor Thaurissan.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't have to expend any resources for it.
Oh, he had to deal 8 damage, Tannen.
Yeah, I mean.
Imagine if there was a minion that just spawned from your deck when you dealt a certain amount of damage in a single turn. No. Oh gosh, Blizzard, don't make that card.
No.
Don't do it.
No, pay no attention to what Nathan just said. Strike it from the record. Call the stenographer.
Isn't gonna go with Coin Azure Drake here. I think he's fearing a little bit of Deathspite in this spot. You know, that would be awful for his curve. You know, right now he's looking at 5, 6, 7. If he plays the Azure Drake here, suddenly he has no 5 drop, he has no 6 drop.
How do you think this matchup goes for this Control Warrior versus Druid?
I feel like every Control Warrior is kind of in the same position where it's just not a comfortable feeling. You know, you have to fight through so much to get to the end game, and then once you're there, you know, one of the big ways you do your fighting is with weapons. So if you have to take too much damage, suddenly you're looking at a spot where they just combo you out of the game. You know, all the positions feel rather uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're always scared of that 14 to 16, you know, even more damage combo coming out of their hands. You have to stay super high, but you have to leverage your weapons at certain times. It seems like so much to juggle during a match.
Now, if there's a position where you can get it done, it's where you're rolling into turn 6 Sylvanas. Like, this alleviates so much of the pressure behind you, especially if you already have something on board. Like, look at what's happening. Kaldi, yeah, has some great plays this turn, but, you know, this could all slip away just in a couple of small little things happening.
Yeah, I mean, his hand is great going forward here in this game. So many 7 drops, but ErA's starting to set up some insane turns here.
What a draw that was, too. He's going to be able to handle everything that's thrown at him.
Yeah, you're seeing the power of this deck. Thanks, Sho.
And Deathlord actually making a big difference here against the Dr. Boom, and that's a great roll for ErA.
Yeah, does he want to use the Fiery War Axe here?
Pointing upstairs and taking out the Boom Bot with that one. Yeah, wants as much health on this as he can get. Another great roll for him. 2 1s on the Boom Bots. Don't actually have any significant board impact.
Yeah, Kaldi's paid 7 mana and a card to deal 2 damage.
Yeah, I cannot blame him for the Ancient Lore here. Wants to have as many options as possible.
Pick him Innervate, not the worst here. He's actually going to be able to put together some pretty insane turns with that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Innervate, sure, you want this card in the early game, but when you get these kinds of hands, suddenly you're very cluttered. You have to do something about this. Honestly, Sylvanas has a very interesting interaction behind the Deathlord right now. This is almost cruel.
Yeah, because depending on what comes out, I mean, if you kill the Deathlord here, you can run his Sylvanas into the Ancient of Lore and steal whatever comes out of it. But luckily for Kaldi, almost all of his big minions are in his hand. No Keeper of the Grove.
Yeah, this is a brutal spot. I mean, this went from a great-looking game to suddenly Sylvanas goes, you can't play anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's very likely this game gets run away with by ErA. You hear that, RDU? You hear that, Kradich?
I don't know what's right. They all look wrong to me. Every single one.
Yeah, he might set up a Druid with Claw behind here. There's the Keeper of the Grove. Thanks, Zach.
No, I'm right here. I'm right here. It's the wrong
Put me in,
spot.
Coach. Can you even set up a Druid with Claw
I don't know.
behind here?
I think
yeah, just hero power.
I feel like I like Shade.
He wants to give him the chance to steal the Shade. All right.
He wants to take away the chance to steal a 5-3, I think is what he really wants to do. This is a big moment now for ErA. 2 of these are pretty darn good. That's the best one. 5 extra damage. But now, is the Ragnaros going to trap him in this spot? Like, say he plays Ragnaros here. Kaldi gets a big swing turn potential with this big game hunter.
ErA's almost always going to play Ragnaros in this spot.
5's got to go dome.
Well, yeah, here's the thing, because like it's lethal pretty much if 5 goes to dome. You have a Fiery War Axe in your hand.
All of these hits pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but you take a 2-4 off board, suddenly this looks like it could sit here, but this is where disaster can strike. Kaldi's reload behind this is massive.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take care of this entire board and have an Emperor Thaurissan with a big game hunter here.
No fear of Grom and Whirlwind here. Whirlwind has oftentimes been cut from these kinds of builds. And when you see Deathlord, where's the space for Whirlwind?
Yeah, there's no way you can have all that in the same deck.
Things have just gone south for ErA. He's going to have to fight through so much now to get this done. But on the bright side of things, he's got 2 brawls in his hand.
How poetic would it be if ErA loses a game this season where he gets big game hunted when all season long he's been building decks to not die to big game hunter?
That's actually kind of painful to think about, because that's been a big talking point for him too. He's even said in his interview, he hates big game hunter, and he hates the swings that this can provide against him.
What do you call it again? Big fun hunter?
Yeah, it's fun game hunter.
Yeah, fun game hunter.
Yeah, there's no fun allowed where this card is.
Yeah, he's the fun police.
It's always that one guy.
Oh, you wanted to pay a bunch of mana for a big minion? Nope. I will say there's a chance ErA just gets really aggressive here too. But I mean, you have to believe there's a bunch of, you haven't seen any taunters out of Kaldi yet.
Yeah, I think you're still playing cleanup crew right now.
Yeah, I like this play a lot more. Just keep getting this game going long. You know, ErA's got some big over-the-top minion in here somewhere, some Nefarian or something like that.
Something actually it's a little bit interesting to me too is that even though he didn't trade with this Emperor, it's not 100% guaranteed that Kaldi's getting a second trigger here. You know, he's looking at 5/5 and he's at 10.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance Kaldi just trades off here and continues to develop his board. And he can't let weapons hit him during the rest of this game. Though he did deal with Ragnaros, it's a pretty big deal.
I mean, and he does have Ancient of War and Druid of the Claw in his hand. You know, does he feel safe doing that?
All right, so you lose
what kind of potential does Brawl have suddenly?
I was about to say, yeah, how do you lose from that spot? Maybe some big brawls?
ErA's been playing 2 brawls all season long. Yeah, he is going to play it super safe. Wow. Oh, having second guesses. Don't do it, Kaldi.
Yeah, there's so
Trust your instinct.
Yeah, there's so much pressure here. Everyone's season is on the line. Whatever you're doing, you got to hurry it up.
Yeah, double taunt it is.
Double taunt it is, and you got to believe it's going upstairs. Yeah, he's going to try to end this game.
If he's double taunting, he needs the triggers from this Emperor Thaurissan. So this is it. I mean, I look at this board. How do you not brawl?
Oh yeah, you brawl.
Do you ever Sludge Belcher before you brawl?
Well, I mean, ErA's thinking about it. What happens if you Sludge Belcher before you brawl here?
Well, that you might as well think about it. You have plenty of time, and you don't have very many other options.
I mean, you can just always play it behind as well too. Is that just better?
Depends.
You get a 25% chance to keep your Shield Maiden, but you get a 100% chance of having a Sludge Belcher.
It's a tough call to make. He's going to brawl first, and I can tell you, 25% of the time, this looks bad for Kaldi. That was the worst result I think Kaldi could have gotten, but you know, happy that it's on his favor.
Right. Yeah, the free cycle of Wild Growth here. Love starting the turn with that. If you're going to draw a card, you might as well be the first thing you do in your turn.
You know, something interesting that I was shown by Hunter on the data team is that when you Wild Growth on turn 10 and have excess mana, this is actually one of the highest win rate cards that gets played at this time.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. Some of the most important things Druids can do to win a game is turn 2 Wild Growth or turn 10 Wild Growth, which is hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, if you have the time to do it, I imagine you're usually in pretty darn good shape.
Yeah, I mean, any other turn, it kind of feels like worse to me. You know, sometimes you skip your 6 slot, you know, you're in turn 5 and you're like, Shade, Wild Growth, Doctor Boom. You know, because you're like, you know, what do you do on turn 6 anyway? Usually you might play Sylvanas.
Emperor Thaurissan.
Yeah, you might play Emperor Thaurissan. Like, you don't have as many hits as you do at turn 7.
That looks like a silence to me.
Yeah, I mean, Kaldi has to start getting damage in. Or is he going to play around another brawl here?
Looks like he's going to dig deeper into his life total.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to keep this Keeper of the Grove, or... Okay, all right, I like it.
Yep, so is this the other brawl turn now from ErA? I mean, he's got multiple ways to start fending this off. and he's still at 32. You know, he's not dead in the water just yet. And I think with that Death Lord pickup, he's going to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think you're going to see him sit behind this Death Lord, try to get another minion out of Kaldi into the brawl.
Plus more resources. I mean, it's buying you more time.
Well, he'll also still have Fiery War X and Execute, so he can take care of like anything big that comes out of Kaldi's deck. Does he have the Sludge Belcher here because is he dead to combo from this spot?
1424, yeah.
It gets through. I'm saying if he gets through Death Lord.
Oh no, he can't. He can't. Combo through that.
Yeah, he can't combo through that. Okay.
ErA's got a lot to think about. I think at 32, he's got the right mindset. Like, don't panic. You don't need to just start killing things crazy right now.
He's very comfortable in these spots.
Yeah, your game plan right now is the brawl. So build to that board state. But now the question is, do you try to get him to use a lot of resources here?
I like his armor up pass, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you can follow up the brawl with a Sludge Belcher.
I think he's just kind of, yeah, I was going to say, he's trying to give some misinformation to Kaldi here.
That's what I think as well. Yeah. You know, like, do I want to execute?
Yeah.
Do I want to shield slam? Like, trying to get Kaldi to overcommit to the board
He's trying to make
position.
it look like there isn't a brawl in his hand. This is a very small play from ErA here, but so many implications to it.
Yeah.
Love it from him.
When you play the Death Lord first, there's no way you're going to brawl. So if you keep thumbing over this card, you know, Kaldi's the kind of person who will believe that you're giving up something here.
Yeah, it's going to be a big turn from Kaldi here, but this brawl is going to do some serious work.
You know, Pilot Shredder's actually, I think, one of the worst drops that ErA could have seen out of this.
Well, he's still got a Fiery War Axe behind this and an Execute, so there's a good chance he can survive from here. And there's, I mean, does Kaldi add Ancient of Lore here? Can he, does he add another Piloted Shredder? Does he add a Shade? Like you believe he wants to add something, right? And all right, he's going to draw 2 cards here.
Like, dangerous with the life total, but again, ErA's so low on cards.
Yeah, well, Kaldi's starting to run out of ways to win, by the way. Like, almost everything left in his deck is utility. There's some Force of Nature Savage War shenanigans going on. But
Here we go, boys.
ErA's about to remove a lot of stuff.
Despite is not a good draw at this point either, though, but this brawl could be disastrous for Kaldi.
Well, Despite might not be the worst thing in the world if he starts picking up Acolyte of Pain after this. Yeah, he's going to be able to execute here if he wants. Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Well, he can still execute and use the hero power here. But...
Oh, no.
Oh, wait, it's a beast. It gets bigger and it doesn't actually die to the... Oh, God.
No. He has to take more damage from this is the problem. And he has to replace his Fiery War Axe to do this.
Dude, ErA has been so unlucky in his last couple matches.
Oh my gosh, that's so brutal. You know, he was relying on this Fiery War Axe to kill 1 extra minion. Now he's out of cards.
You've got to feel for ErA. This has been hard to watch his last couple matches.
And Kaldi's, I mean, there's no shortage of action in his hand right now, and now he picks up combo.
This game might just be over next turn.
I think ErA just died.
Yeah, this game's over next turn, right? Yeah, you play Pilot Shredder, you play Shade, you attack him for 1. I was gonna say, do you just Wrath your own Pilot Shredder here? What are you looking for? You got 4 mana, you already used your other Pilot Shredder, your other Shade's gone. Yeah, I think it's what he's thinking about right now, what's left in his deck, and it might even be worth cycling this Wrath.
That's exactly what he's thinking about.
I think just getting in the 1 from your hero power and playing Shade is fine here. Yeah, you have an Innervate just in case, but...
Yeah, I actually don't mind cycling it here. You know, he has Force of Nature, he has Savage Roar, and he has Innervate right now.
Yeah, I mean,
if he draws the other Savage Roar, it's 22 with the combo.
Yeah, I was going to say, he could pick up the other Savage Roar. That's what I was about to get to. Whatever he's doing, get going, Kaldi. Not bad.
So he's going to sacrifice the full 22 potential to protect his Pilot Shredder as long as possible. You know, ErA's out of cards. Playing the grind game at this point, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Picking up an Acolyte of Pain here after this Deathbite, it's not the worst thing in the world. He at least gets some development and a card.
It's going to need to be a big one.
All right, chaining through.
Yeah, that's a decent one right now.
We're doing it. Yeah, we're doing it. All right, that wasn't the worst turn in the world.
Yeah, this is 23 damage on Kaldi's side.
Oh, that might lock it up,
goodness.
Though. Yeah, this Shade hero power pretty much locks it up, right?
I mean, really, any big minion was going to get this job done. And at this point, you know, I look at the board, I feel like ErA has to have a Doomsayer pop out of this Pilot Shredder.
I was going to say, yeah, Loatheb doesn't even actually, like, change anything,
just
really.
Just a 5/5.
Yeah, it's just a 5/5, yeah. It's so much tension here. How unlucky for ErA, by the way. I mean, I'm not saying he would have won the game anyway.
It's not the worst thing. He just takes 6 damage is really what it was. You know, a spot where he's normally going to take like 2.
He loses a charge off of his weapon as well. Yeah. He didn't get to armor up that turn, so he actually took 8, you know?
Yeah.
Effectively.
He's thinking about cutting off his Acolyte of Pain. I don't really know what the importance of this is, though.
Well, we've seen all season long, ErA makes some, I mean, Kaldi, you know, these guys, when they get in these situations, they make some pretty controlling plays.
That's actually a pretty good draw. Is that enough to shut this off now? 14 plus 8, 22, 3, 4, 25, 26.
Let's see what he draws.
Yeah, he's going to have enough life.
Picks up Armor Smith as well.
$26 damage available for Kaldi this turn. So just shy of that 30-point life.
It might be 29, but I'm not. I mean, whatever it is, it's not lethal, but it's close. Right, 7.
It's 14
5.
plus 8 plus 4. I mean, now I look at this spot and I go, do I trade the Shade here in Wrath ever? Like, he has to do something about the Shield Maiden. He can't just move all in, I don't think, because he's at 10 right now.
Yeah. God, this game has been crazy.
You know, I look at this board and I wonder, he's dead to Grommet every single step of the way. Does that worry him? He has to start getting this game over with.
All right, what happens if you cycle Wrath and then Force of Nature? Is that just not good enough?
It looks like Kaldi wants to move in.
Yeah, Kaldi, you got to do it fast, buddy. Yeah, he's going to trade his Shade here, most likely. Or, I mean, sorry, let's trade 2 of the Treants, maybe.
Yeah, 2 of the Treants getting traded here. Cannot play with his life total any longer. So doesn't get the massive burst that he needed. But ErA is now at 12. And he's got 8 power sitting on board. Second Savage Roll will do this. You know, Charge Minion will do it. ErA's in a spot where he's forced to armor up.
He could take care of the Lothep here and gain a lot of life. Does that keep him alive? All right, he takes 5, goes down to 7. And he's going to gain another 6.
I think his question is whether or not he kills the Shade or whether or not he kills the Lothep, because the Shade's going to keep growing. The Lothep's always at 5/5, so this is what he's thinking about right now. Which one of these long-term?
Yeah, the Shade will have a damage on it. He has 2 1/4s or 2 1/3s. Ugh, this is hard.
And then Kaldi's the one with initiative too. That's the other.
Lothep is more damage over the next 2 turns, but the Shade's more damage over 3 turns. So I feel like you almost have to attack the Lothep. God, this is so hard.
He's gonna go with the Shade.
This does take way less damage.
Gosh, this spot is so tense. So now at 15, there's not actually a draw in Kaldi's deck that will kill ErA at this point. Mind Control Tech, I think, is just good enough as a 3/3 right here.
Do you cycle Wrath?
You know, that's a tough choice to make. Do you start killing the Armor Smiths at all?
I mean, how much damage does Kaldi have left in his deck? He has a Savage Roar and maybe a Force of Nature.
Maybe another Ancient of War?
Yeah,
maybe a Ragnaros?
He's running out of some cards here. But again, I mean, he generally has better top decks than ErA does at this point.
Well, you say that, but this is a Control Warrior deck.
Yeah, of course.
ErA has seen basically none of his late game.
I mean, you could show up with the Deathwing.
God, that would just be a great way to end this one.
Yeah.
ErA, please have Deathwing.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Nefarian.
God, what a tough turn. Yeah, let's start pushing, boys.
I'll say 5 damage is a lot to give up on.
Yep. Especially at this stage of the game.
God, this match is so tight.
Yep, so no Wrath from Kaldi. He wants the utility. This draw is so important for ErA!
And that's game. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's not game.
No,
sorry.
he doesn't have a way to activate it. Yeah. But what happens now is that he's cleaned up this board position.
Yeah, he's going to take care of... Well, the Mind Control Tech stays around.
It certainly does, but now Kaldi has to use his cards.
Yeah. Now, Kaldi can use Mind Control Tech and Wrath to take care of this Grom now.
ErA's still thinking about what draws are lethal from Kaldi at this point. Do I need to run these Armor Smiths into the Mind Control Tech to stay alive? Nope, start chipping away. It's down to the wire. Kaldi has to pick up something to keep pressure going, or ErA's going to take a 2-1 lead.
Well, I mean, Kaldi's still in a pretty good spot here. He could run the Mind Control tech in, cycle a Wrath, gets 2 cards this turn, and he's got some hits left in his deck.
ErA is praying and hoping right now. And Kaldi's almost out of cards. Is his last one Druid of the Claw? No, it's not. He's already used both Druids of the Claw. Is his last one Force of Nature?
I think it might be Force of Nature if he's playing double combo. It could be Ragnaros. We haven't seen that yet, right?
If it's Force of Nature, ErA's going to be put out of range because of the 2 Armor Smiths.
Oh my god. Does Kaldi know what his last card in his deck is? You have to believe he does.
Oh, Kaldi knows what his last card in his deck is. He's trying to figure out how he wins the game from here. I mean, he can't just take 10. He's just dead. Maybe it is something different. You know, maybe it is a Ragnaros. Whatever it is, it's got to be something right now. If he's using Savage Roar, I think it's a minion.
Maybe he's going to Wrath, and then he's going to run this guy in.
His last card has to be a minion.
He can take care of the entire board here.
Yep, good sequencing too. Gives ErA the least armor possible. That is a pretty darn good one when the last one's probably a minion. Yeah, that's going to do it. Kaldi is out of cards. ErA has enough armor to utilize this shield slam. He is going to take game number 2 and be 1 game away from forcing extra games to find out who's getting this 8th spot.
All right, here comes the Chaos Boys. We're 1 game away.
Yep. ErA doesn't even need to show a single card after this. Just let Kaldi fatigue out. Yep. Love the play from ErA. Don't give him anything. Kaldi's going to scoop it up, and we're moving on to game number 4 with ErA as the 2-1 lead.
Right. Kaldi season's on the line now. We talk about this all the time. When players have their back to the wall, you know, they go to their comfort picks. Is he going to play Handlock?